let's talk about some main topics here. The first of which is what the fuck is going on here. Look, I don't know what the fuck's happening here, but we were clearly all lied to. We were bamboozled, hoodwinked. We were clearly deceived because yesterday morning, or not yesterday, it was Friday morning, I believe. We get word, all the outlets at the same time. Oh, yeah, Spidey's back. MCU.
I wonder how Tom Holland found out. He probably found out on Twitter, just like everybody else.
Probably.
Or Instagram.
Yeah. What do you think he did? What was his first move? Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I would go rub one out. Let me just. Oh God. All right, we're back.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know. Maybe his mom's still in the next room. I don't know if you want to do that. Yeah.
Close the door. Turn the volume up on the TV on The Office really loud, like I do.
Yeah.
So no one knows what's going on.
That's okay. That's
Was that too much?
Yeah, a lot more detail than I would have cared for.
Now
but,
you know how I like it.
Yeah, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Particularly season 3. That's what really gets me going.
Season 3
of The Office.
Oh, okay. You didn't. You just said season 3. I was
Come on.
very confused.
Pay attention.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Spidey's back in the MCU.
Yeah.
So obviously there were some roundtable conversations between the people at Sony and the people at Marvel Studios or Disney, whoever the fuck was there. They got the deal done, which is good because this was Spider-Man being removed from the MCU. It was good for nobody, right?
Yeah. Everybody
Sony
lost.
knew, right?
No. I think Disney knew. I think look. Everybody sort of says like Sony's like the people who didn't want to, who were being unreasonable. Or not everybody, but a lot of fans say that Disney or Sony was the company that was being unreasonable here. They definitely weren't. Disney was wild. They were wild. And let me show you why. Let me read you a piece of this article from Variety. Over the summer, news broke that Disney, Marvel's parent company, and Sony had reached an impasse over a new financing deal. Disney wanted the film to be financed on a 50-50 basis, with Kevin Feige remaining in a consulting producer capacity. Sony is believed to have proposed keeping the arrangement under the current terms, which stipulate that Marvel receives about 5% of first dollar gross in all merchandising revenues. So basically, Disney wanted a 50-50 split in terms of financing the film, which or financing the Spider-Man films, which is kind of insane because what that basically means is that then Spider-Man wouldn't be Sony's anymore. It would basically be they're sharing Spider-Man with Disney in a legitimate way where they can't just claim to be like, oh, like, you know, we can do whatever the fuck we want, Spider-Man. No, like it's being split 50-50 with Disney, which if you have a property that you've already paid for, that is your property, why the fuck would I do that? Like,
yeah, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense. And so Disney was clearly wilding out. You know, and so anyways, so Sony gets painted as sort of like not being above board, but really they clearly were. And then to give you a little more flavor to it, Marvel and Disney will receive roughly 25% of the profits, according to insiders, for the Spider-Man films. And I believe what they're doing is they're doing 1-1. They are the current deal that they just signed late Thursday basically is for one standalone Spider-Man film and then one more appearance in some sort of
in like a collective movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whether it's Avengers or whatever they're going to come up with the next. Yeah.
This deal again had to get done. It was good for nobody to remove Spider-Man from the MCU. I think Sony knew that, like, you know, Spider-Man is best where it was with Marvel in the MCU because they've done such a great job with the character over the most recent films, right? Yeah. And I think Sony knew that they just didn't have the capacity, like the storytelling, the writing, the background to produce its own standalone Spider-Man movie without.
No.
No, I mean, I'm sure they have writers and directors and there's story there, but I think that the story that Marvel is telling right now with this character is the best story.
And that's sort of what my whole point is with all this. Like, even with this deal taking place, I still maintain what I said when it looked like he was exiting the MCU, is that Sony actually does produce good content when it comes to Spider-Man. Of recent history, maybe not so much, right? Like, you look back even to Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man's, one of the most atrocious, offensive movies I've ever seen in my life. Then you go to the Amazing Spider-Mans. They were okay.
The Andrew Garfield
right.
Spider-Mans.
They were
he did 2 films, right?
Yeah, he did 2 films. They're okay. But then you start looking at, first of all, they had the first 2 Spider-Man films, which were, by all accounts, pretty good, at least, especially for the time. And then you look at the film that I think gets sort of lost in a phrase, Into the Spider-Verse. Fantastic fucking. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Fantastic film. That is great use of the Spider-Man property. So it's not like Sony is incapable of doing it. It's just that I don't care. Like, I don't. It's great if you develop, this Venom and Morbius and all these offshoots, and maybe you bring them all together. Maybe you do a little Sinister. I don't care. Just put them in the MCU and have him be an Avenger, and I'll care.
Yeah. So here's what it is, right? Like, Marvel already has the restaurant I like going to, right? They've everything on the menu so far.
I need like a sound thing for one of your metaphors,
because they're usually very good, right?
Elaborate. I'll at the very minimum give you that. They're very elaborate. Yeah.
Right now, Marvel is my local neighborhood restaurant that I like to go to. Sometimes I'll even go there by myself, just grab something to eat and grab a drink, right?
Sure.
Everything on the menu is good, right? There's some things on the menu I don't really care for. Maybe I've tried once or twice, like Iron Man 3, Thor 2. What was that one? With the dark elves and shit?
Yeah, that was
right. The Captain Marvel. I've had it once. It wasn't terrible, but not my particular taste, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And there was this thing on the Spider-Man stuff was on the menu, and now the restaurant across the street is like, hey, we kind of made that sandwich. We're gonna pull it off of your menu and we're gonna sell it over here. Yeah, I could go get that sandwich over there because I do like it, right? But no, just fucking leave it here.
What the fuck are you talking
Leave it here.
Just
right? No, I want to come here to get.
This is the most elaborate shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's very elaborate. I know. Just leave the sandwich here where it is. Let me get it here. Yes, you guys can do it too, but just leave it here, right?
Yeah.
It's better here.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with this whole Marvel, Sony, Spider-Man stuff. Sony has the capacity to produce good Spider-Man movies, good Spider-Man content or properties, right? Mm-hmm. But Marvel's just doing it best right now. Don't fuck with it. I think this is what this deal is about. It's like, hey guys, we got to get this deal done because where Spider-Man is now, it's the best place for it. Let's just leave good enough alone. Let's get a deal done.
Yeah, but I think also think that it was both things, right? Like, where this is the best place for Spider-Man, but also I think Disney tried to overplay its hand. It basically saw like, we can do whatever the fuck we want, We could 50-50, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that, But then I think Spider-Man does figure largely into, like, I think what the rest of the phase 4, phase 5 and all that, I think he does figure into it pretty prominently.
And maybe Sony knew that, right? Maybe Sony knew Marvel was like, hey, you guys need this character. So, like, let's get a deal done. Stop being a bunch of assholes. No, we're not giving you 50%.
I think that's what they thought. And what they obviously, after Far From Home, and obviously, I'm sure they've planned out what the next Spider-Man film is. I'm sure they're like, oh, you guys are like, we're going to come to an understanding. And then Disney was like, no. Well, how about you give us a 50-50 split? And they're just like, no.
I wonder how those conversations went. Like, when Sony was like, no, we're going to take Spider-Man back, was Disney just like, all right, cool, let's bring in Silver Surfer, let's bring in some characters from the X-Men, or some other characters from the MCU.
That's one thing that I was about to mention is that I think that's why they wanted to keep Spider-Man at the very minimum for these two outings, is because I think everybody's like, oh man, are we getting MCU fatigue? Are we not caring anymore? Boy, once them X-Men hit, it's about to be fire.
Yeah.
Once we get a new Wolverine, and they actually do the X-Men right.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
there's so many extremely powerful characters in the X-Men series that really deserved a fair shot that they didn't get. The Rogue, one of the most powerful characters in the MCU.
Oh, yeah,
or in the X-Men universe.
They made her trash.
They made her garbage.
Because I remember watching the animated show when I was younger, thinking, "Yo, Rogue's one of
was
the baddest characters."
powerful.
Yeah.
Storm was more powerful than she was.
Well, they just minimized her role. They didn't. They actually made her decently powerful, but in the
like,
X-Men
she, like,
films,
never really
but she never really
used
did
her power
anything.
to
She was just
its
kind of
extent,
there,
yeah.
you know. Yeah.
She would just change the weather every now and then, like,
I want to go to the
it's cloudy
beach
now.
I want to go to the beach.
But yeah, and I think that was part of it. Like, Sony knew, hey, there's Spider-Man is best here with Marvel. There's more story to tell. Disney knew that they've got upcoming projects, and this character really fits into to what's coming down the pipeline. So it's best for everybody to get a deal done.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever. Spider-Man's back. I feel like we were all fucking lied to. Because Sony came out with a couple statements like, "Oh, as of right now, we're no longer pursuing a relationship with Marvel or some bullshit like that." And it's just like, yo, you can't trust anybody, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I was gonna come up with like a whole analogy myself of,
my sandwich analogy.
Yeah, it was
spot on.
it was terrible.
It was spot on.
Okay. But I remember from the 90s, right? You had who was one of the best wrestlers? Stone Cold Steve Austin, right?
Yeah.
Stone Cold. And he used to have this thing he said, DTA, don't trust Austin, was the thing. But what does that derive from? Don't trust anybody. I still feel like we should live by DTA. Don't trust anybody, because these companies will say fucking statement after statement. Oh, we're not doing this. This is preposterous. This is crazy. Yeah. And then next week it's like, oh yeah, this thing is actually happening. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
the New York Giants were like, we're not going to trade Odell Beckham. He's the future of our organization. 2 weeks later, they trade him to the Browns. Yeah, don't trust anybody.
We wish Odell well.
The Lakers are like, Lonzo Ball. He's
our future.
He's part of the new look Lakers. A couple weeks later, he's in New Orleans.
Yeah. So don't trust anybody, man. These companies will fucking lie to you. They'll say whatever they need to in order not to have any sort of waves in the markets.
Who do you think texted who first? Did Sony text Disney, or did Disney like, hey, big head?
No, Disney definitely texted first, because I think it's because they knew, again, I feel like they knew Spider-Man was going to factor heavily into the next phase of the MCU. So I think they were looking at it like, they really thought they were bigger than that. They thought, oh, we could just say whatever to them, they'll buy it. It's like when you have a friend and if you just say anything to them and they'll do whatever it is. Hey, can you give me a sub from Subway? Is that okay? Can you do that? And they're like, yeah, I'll do it.
What kind of friendship is this? This is manipulation. The fuck friends do you have? But what do you think the text said between Disney and Sony?
So Disney was definitely like, are you up?
Thinking about you. Thinking about you.
It was definitely 1 a.m. in the morning, and they're like, hey, you up?
And Disney texts back like, or Sony texts back like, yeah, I'm up. What are you doing?
No. Because they're a little salty, they just text back, yeah. That's what you do when you're salty.
But the first text was yeah.
Yeah, the first text was yeah.
Then there was a second text. Yeah.
No. I think they wait. They wait to see what the waters are like. They're like, what are you trying to say here? Are you just what are you trying to do?
And then Disney kept pushing.
Exactly. Disney just was like,
what are you doing? What are you watching?
Hey,
you watching Spider-Man?
How was your day? Are you watching?
You watching Endgame? Yeah, that's definitely how it went. Like, hey, you up? Yeah. What you doing? Watching TV? You watching the Endgame?
Holy shit. Yo, said, are you watching Endgame? That's some fucked up shit.
At 1 o'clock in the morning.
We know you are. Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, anyways. All right, so that's, whatever. That's happening.
Welcome back, Spidey.
Welcome
Tom
back.
Holland, you've got a job.
Yeah.